Good morning, huddlers. It is your Friday morning. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. It is great to have you here. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're participating, whether you're virtual or live, well, you'll be virtual even if you're live here with us in the Zoom room. We welcome you. We love you. It's special that you're here so that each of us can have the opportunity to start our Friday on this foot. And I'm starting this Friday for you with a question to my very good friend, Chase Steele Gray. Chase, good morning.
Grand Rising, Captain.
Well, Chase, you should always borrow money from a pessimist. Why would I say that?
Borrow money from a pessimist. That's a good one. You're about to zap me. I can feel it. Please tell me, sir.
They'll never expect it back.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, the video is not checked out there.
I don't know, Sorrel. I don't know about that. Terrible. Terrible.
As we say about our jokes, the more they make you groan, the better. I will not quit my day job, I swear. Good morning, Andrea. Tell me, where are you?
I am right where I need to be, Sorrel. Right here.
Right here, right here. And Gio, what time is it? And who are you going to hug today?
Time is now. The time is now. And who am I going to hug today? I'm going to hug, who am I going to see today? I'm going to hug Maya today.
You're going to hug Maya? Well, I have to question that, Gio. You sure she's going to take that hug?
I'm going to force myself through a hug.
Give her a besito too.
Yes.
Rashida, tell me, Rashida, how are you? And what are you grateful for?
I am blessed and not stressed and highly favored. And I am grateful that they allow me one more day to my calendar.
I love that. I am grateful that you have one more day to your calendar. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for having been the godmother of the Daily Huddle, introducing us to Chase and a whole bunch of other people. So thank you for growing the family and welcome. Well, folks, we've got one for you today inside of this question. What is your overall money mindset? Or better yet, what is your overall belief about money? Our guest, Erin Newman, is here to unpack that question with us. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a family man, whether whoever you are, there is a belief you have about money that's impacting something significant that's important to you in your life, whether that's your business, your family, your retirement, you name it. And Erin is here today. She is a speaker, she's an author, and mindset and business coach. And she is that just for you, entrepreneurs. She helps business owners to overcome mindset blocks to money and income so that they can truly do what lights them up in their business and make the income they desire. Who doesn't want that? Erin is also a mixture of mindset and healing tools. Erin helps people to finally vanquish the mind gremlins. I love that term. Follow their soul purpose and create a new pathway to abundance, success, and joy. Erin, I'm delighted to welcome you back to the Daily Huddle. It's always great to have you. Welcome home.
Oh, thanks. It's so good to be here and see so many familiar faces too. It's really lovely how you guys have built this community. So I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
thank you for being a part of the community inside of the context that you contribute to the world and to your clients. So we're delighted to have you take us through this journey this morning. So what is your overall belief about money? Erin, take it away.
Awesome. Okay. You guys see that okay? Yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm going to start off with the big one, and Sorel and I were kind of having this conversation right before we got on, but when we talk about money mindset or any kind of mindset, we're not just talking about our conscious thoughts, the things that you and I all sitting down having a coffee know to be true, right? When we say things like, of course you're deserving of more, of course you're allowed to have more. We really want to also look at what is our subconscious belief to be true, because this is where the juice is. This is where all of what we truly believe will show up in our external reality. And we're going to get into some of those beliefs that are kind of consistent for most of us, but we want to start off with remembering or reminding ourselves that you can do affirmations all day long. You can tell yourself, you can tell other people, of course I deserve this. But if your subconscious doesn't believe it, if your subconscious is saying things like, no, you're a failure. No, you'll never get there. No, that's not for you. That's for somebody else. And we all have those thoughts. Then we want to look into what is our subconscious telling us about what it is that we deserve to have in this lifetime. And it's not that our subconscious waves a little flag and says, hey, you're doing something wrong. Instead, our subconscious creates patterns of self sabotage to keep us right where we are. So if you've ever had that experience in your life where maybe you got a raise, or maybe if you are an entrepreneur, you took on a big new client, and then that next month you had this really unexpected expense come up, or you had this unexpected um, illness or something come up. It's because we create these patterns of self sabotage based on our belief system. And that's normal. What your subconscious is doing is keeping you safe, right? It's keeping you in a space of your comfort zone. It's you in a space of what your family believes, right? So if we look back at why did my subconscious even create these belief systems, it's because at a very young age, subconsciously, we agreed to the belief system of our parents. We agreed to the belief system of our families of origin or whoever we were raised with. And so anytime it looks like we're expanding past that, our subconscious is like, no, 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 stay right here. This is the space you belong in. This is the in which you're safe. This is the space in which you're loved, right? And so again, that looks like patterns of self-sabotage to the outside world, right? It looks like things like us not showing up in the ways that we want to show up, us not doing the things that we want to do in our lives and in our businesses, again, because we want to stay in that comfort zone, space of safety. And so three of those biggest money mindset beliefs, and again, these are operating on the subconscious level, is that if I were to expand, if I were to go from, okay, right here where I am right now to that other space, and maybe that's more income, maybe that's working less, whatever that space of expansion looks like, your subconscious is probably telling you one of these things, maybe all of them. And I've grouped them in three buckets. They can look very different in the ways that they show up for people, but these are kind of the patterns that I've seen and that show up for all of us. And one of them is I have to work harder, right? So if we think about accessing our next level of income, again, in a career, in a business, in anything that you do, there's usually a belief associated with it that I'm going to have to work a lot harder. Like I know if I think about doubling my income, what comes up there is like this heaviness of like, oh, I'm going to have to take on double the amount of clients, right? Double the amount of work, right? Instead of what we know could be true, which is, okay, well, I can scale, I can create groups, I can create different things that are outside of doubling the amount of work, right? And that's true for us, right? If you look at somebody who's making more income than you, they don't have to be working harder, but that's a belief system that we have, right? That it's going to take a lot more hard work for ourselves. Or we also do things like we see that person in our mind who's making a lot more income. They don't look like us, right? Maybe they're this very put together person. Maybe they are, one of the ones I think I've shared before that always comes up for me is, well, she has this perfect straight hair, so she's not me in some way, right? But we want to actually see that person who's making more income as ourselves, as we are right now, right? Without having to change anything. But again, usually there's a subconscious belief that when we picture that person in our mind who's making more income, they look different than us in some way. They are different than us in some way. And so we want to shift that. And then the third big bucket is that making money in general is in some way wrong. It's greedy, it's selfish, it's not for me, it's for other people, it's for those rich people, right? And this can happen at any income level, so no matter where you are right now, if you're thinking about, let's just say, doubling your income, that can come up, right? So again, these buckets are arbitrary, but they kind of encapsulate some of the biggest ones that I see here. So we're going to play around with this a little bit because we do want to get into what is your belief about money on our short time together today. And if you want to play along, you can just jot down, and this works better. Ooh, that was like a dinosaur. You can just jot down on a piece of paper what your big monthly or yearly, you can play with it either way, monthly or yearly financial goal is here. And then we're going to get into, what are my beliefs about that? What does it require of me? So we got all the fun stuff happening today. Okay, so if you guys want to play along, what's
Can
your
I
big...
ask a question?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Shut up.
Burn,
Yep.
burn.
I think you got a bomber on.
Yeah. I think we have a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we got a couple of bombers on the line.
You're gone.
Okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Awesome. Okay. So those of us that are not bots, let's play with, what is that big monthly or yearly financial goal? And then the next questions that we're going to ask, everybody have something that they can jot down there. It should feel a little bit of a stretch from where you are right now. Okay. All right. And then we want to look at, and these questions are going to feel really like kind of crunchy, like, I'm not sure if I really want to look at this. That's okay. That's what we want to get into. Why don't you deserve to be here? And why is it easier to be right where you are? And so those are both just two different ways of looking at, what is my subconscious telling me about what's required of me in that expansion, right? And some of those things might be the things we named already. Like, it's right now, I don't have to take on more work. I don't have to take on more clients. I get to take Fridays off, or I get to spend more time with my kids. I get to have time for church or prayer every week right now. But if I were to expand, that would all go away. And again, this isn't what we know to be true. This is what our subconscious believes to be true. So if you have just a moment, we'll just take just a little teeny moment here. What's coming up for you? Why don't you deserve to have that second level of income? Why don't you deserve doubling your income, tripling your income? Why is it easier to be right here? And these are such good questions to get into those money beliefs. What's coming up there? I'm just going to check the chat in case I'm missing something. Yeah. Belief that you must be highly educated, work harder, and borrow money to produce and multiply. Oh, these are so good. Chase said 250,000. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yes. Awesome. I'm glad you're here too, Peter. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? What else is coming up for you guys? I'm going to stop sharing so we can chat about this. Anybody want to pop in?
Now, go ahead and raise your hand if you want to interact and ask a question of Erin. This is the time where you engage in discovering your own beliefs about money. Gio.
Erin, great to see you again.
Hi,
And
Gio.
I'm a real fan of this conversation, given the impact, the positive impact it has had in my life. Something that was being triggered for me, oh, I was present as you were speaking, was there is the version of me many years ago who doesn't have the revenues that I have now. And when I look back, as I reflect, it's like, what could it be said that I was working harder then? Now I work less. I'm looking at what was the mindset shift for me that allows me to be more playful in the marketplace. And so that's what was being triggered right now. Like, what was it? What was it different? Certainly, there was many years ago, the strategic aspect of making money was not available for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was not available. It was mostly physical aspect of making money. And the aspect of trading time for money was the only thing I had available for myself. And so that but can I say that I work less now? Definitely not. I can't say that. It's definitely different. But is it a less work, more work? I don't know. I think it is so different. It is so different in my worldview when I reflect on my old self and my new self. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Do you mean going from more like physical labor to sort of more mental labor? Is that kind of the transition, or?
It's like, it's so different. There are aspects that I do that I require physical labor, not as constant, certainly. The biggest aspect I see is that I see that I transitioned personally was that it is hard. It is really hard to make money. It's hard. No, it's not hard work. It's hard.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Right. And you
it's
shifted
hard,
that.
not hard work. It's hard. I
Yep.
can't say I work less.
Right.
That's not,
Yeah.
I can't say that, but it is hard.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think what you probably started doing, Gio, was just seeing yourself as the person who was allowed to make more, And I always think to myself, do we have to do this money mindset work, right? Like I talk about it all the time, I mean, it's a huge part of what I do. It's like, do we actually have to do this? And some people just do it naturally, which is what you did, right? Like you slowly over the years really shifted your identity into, okay, this is something that I'm allowed to have. This is something I'm allowed to do, even, with whatever way I was raised, even with my background, even with what I saw happening around me, in my earlier years. You became the person who's now allowed to make money in the ways that you do. And so I think
No, it
my
wasn't naturally. I just want to say it was purely through coaching. It
Mm.
wasn't by myself.
Okay,
No,
great.
no, never on my own devices. On my own devices, I would have stayed. I would have continued to do the same.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, great, good, good testimonial to our profession then. Yeah, and I think Yeah, and so that's the answer that I always come back to for myself is like, this speeds up the process. When you start looking at your belief systems, it speeds up the process. And yes, some people just do it on their own, right? But if that's not happening, then yeah, okay, it's great to go look at this stuff. It's great to go look at, and in any area, right? Health, your personal relationships, wherever. It's great to go look at what are the beliefs that are actually driving me. And you did that work, right? You looked at those and
Yeah.
said, I don't want those to be true anymore. I want this to feel easier for me to make money. I want myself, I want my identity to be somebody who goes out there and creates this wealth in a way that I really like creating it versus, the way us were raised with, which is, go out there, work really, really, really hard at a job and, follow the steps, take the corporate ladder, right? We were told all these things that eventually we have to sit with for ourselves and say that doesn't have to be true. And the reason that I know it doesn't have to be true is because there's somebody out there who's already doing it.
Erin, thank you. Gio, thank you for opening it up that way.
Yeah.
Erin, you said something that is dawning on me is that you said self-sabotage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you said the subconscious mind's job is to make me believe that it's me. So in essence, what self-sabotage to me, to my subconscious, is actually self-preservation. Like
Yes. Yes.
it wants to stay this way because it's
Yes.
the way it is.
Yes.
So in that sense, I'm also hearing through Gio's conversation that the practice of looking at what my beliefs are about money, about anything, it's really that. It's a practice because the subconscious is never going to stop. So it is important to be looking at my belief about money, not as some exercise where I'm looking, what was my belief in the past? It's more like, what are my beliefs about money right now?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for creating that. Chase has a question. Chase?
Indeed, this is a great conversation, a really great conversation. Thank you so, so much, Erin. Wow. So I was thinking about overall the conversation, and I come from very successful human beings. My mother and my natural born father and my bonus father all have been successful right in front of me my entire life. So that set me off into a specific area. But what I find interesting is that my money consciousness, or the way that I see money, even though it comes from seeing them being successful and saying, yeah, I can do that, I can do that. But also sometimes you hit a wall because their mindset comes from a different time. So my mom is very pragmatic. She's like, you ever think about going back to school? Do you ever think about doing such and such? You should go into broadcasting.
Right?
And I'm a performer. Like, I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
I've been performing since I'm 15, traveling around the world everywhere. And sometimes I find there's certain people you have to be careful speaking to because they almost will convince you that getting money has to come from a certain thing or from a certain safe zone. So I know enough about the brain to know that, yes, we are first protecting ourselves all the time. How can we go into a soft area where we don't get cut? And
Yeah.
my question to you is, in a situation, or I think we all go through this from time to time, what do you think the best way is to kind of verbally steer away from those people who they really feel like they're helping you? But for me, I hear them saying, now, come on, Mr. Adventurous Chase, slow down a little bit. Can't do all of that. And I'm like, of course I can. Of course I can. And I'll have that money and I'll get it. See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I would say to you, Chase, is when you're so secure in that belief, what you just named, then no matter who it is and what they say, you aren't triggered by it anymore, right? Like, so the work is really,
It's less. Yes,
for
it is
me,
less.
yeah, and it's always looking within, right? Like, what do I still believe to be true? Because if someone right now came to me and said, Erin, the sky is purple, I would be like, okay, well, you're crazy, the sky is blue. And it doesn't impact me at all, right? But like if they come to me with something that can get to something inside of me, it's gonna resonate, it's gonna impact me, right? So
Right.
I don't know if there's, I mean, there is some great thing to say in response to that, but I think it's always about why did that trigger me? You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
if
drip though. It's a drip. It's like a drip from a faucet with your parents. It's not every day. It's not all the time. They just say that one thing happened to me a couple of weeks ago. One thing. He said, well, you're doing okay, good. So what are you going to do for your retirement? Got
yeah,
something in place? What are you? And I was
yeah,
like, from the artistic perspective, you don't always, the other side doesn't see the artistic perspective at all. They almost feel like it's a fantasy every time I
yeah,
speak about it.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, and I think what's really interesting is that we formed those beliefs long ago, right?
Mm,
And they're showing up now, but really we formed them between, 0 to 7, again, around what family believed to be true, right? What does
right.
my family say is safe and acceptable and okay in this world? So it's not that you're unraveling what dad or bonus dad said 2 weeks ago. You're really unraveling what they said when you were 4 or 5 or
Right.
6, and really not even what they said, what they modeled for us, right?
Yeah.
Because most of the time this isn't even spoken, right? Most of the time it's not like mom and dad sat us down and said, do this. Maybe they did, but that was probably later. But like we look around and we say, okay, this is what a person in our society does. This is what my family member does. I need to go out there and do that.
Right. Right. And you know what? Just my last statement. What makes it crazy is that they are successful. They're crazy successful in the way that they did it. It's just not the way I want to do it.
Right?
So that's it. That's all I have.
Yep. Yep.
Love it. Love it. Ronald, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. It's a tail end to what Chase is saying, but at the same time, Erin, do you believe, or is there such thing as a transition, or how long should the transition should be for to really look at the self-abundance, or like you're gonna shift from doing this to really do that when you've done this so successfully. And I mean, I know it's somewhat like you will know the time, but from your experience, have you really, I guess
Healed.
transition someone from one end to a successful, I would say, gainful way of living, so to speak?
And do you mean just increase their income, or do you
Yeah,
mean sense
increase
of,
their income or
yeah,
career move, and
yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think um yes, that's definitely something I've helped people with. I would say I get more excited when we can come back to that sense of, you named it, like self-abundance, when we can come back to that sense of like, I'm gonna be fine no matter what, right? Like I have enough, and no matter what I do, it's still gonna be enough, right? Like I am truly, and however you want to, whatever your religious background is, I'm truly supported by the universe. I'm truly supported by God in what I do. And when we can really have that belief system, and it's a spectrum, of course, we're always playing with that, but when we can create that belief system, that's where I get super excited. And that's for me what conversation about money is really about anyway, is that feeling of just resting and trusting in, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call the thing that is bigger than us, and knowing no matter what I do, I'm supported in that. And so, yeah, I mean, again, the money's cool. That's what we're talking about. And it's cool to move people into spaces where they get to create more of it. And it's about something deeper than that too, right?
Yeah, got it.
Thank you, Ronald. CC,
Yeah.
you'll be the last one.
Okay, thank you so much for this topic. What I'm gathering out of this is that I transitioned from being an employee just over broke to creating opportunities for wealth and generating a few years ago. And I grew up with the job mentality: go to college, get you a good job, everything will be all right. So that was not the truth for me. So I look at it this way: like the birds and the bees, they don't even worry about how they're going to eat or, find food, shelter. That's the same mentality I need to think about generating wealth and being wealthy. Change
Mhm.
it to the better. God supplies everything. Not to listen to people who just know that a job is for them, because the
Mhm.
jobs, I got fired from jobs. So that was a blessing, because it caused me to search within and do something different. So I pass, and thank you for letting me speak.
100%. Love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, CC. You are always a contribution, and so is everyone else who participated today. Erin, time flies like crazy. So here we
Always.
are. If there's this one thing that as you go through your day today, you'll say, "Oh my God, I wish I said this on the Daily Huddle." What is that?
Is that to me? Is that
Yeah,
question?
what is that?
Oh.
What is that for you? That
Oh.
one thing you're going to be, I wish I said that.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I kind of underline what Cece said, which is, we get to go out there and create this our own way, and again, all this talk about money mindset is really so that you get to step into what you're being called to do in this world in the ways that you want to do it, knowing that you're supported, knowing the universe truly has your back, knowing source has your back, that you get to do it your way and be supported financially. And that stepping into that mindset is just, it's so freeing and it's so mind-blowing. And I hope that for all of you.
That is the miracle of this conversation. It's counterintuitive in what I'm hearing you say. If I'm doing money mindset work so I can have money, maybe that's counterproductive. I'm doing money mindset work for the sake of having the mindset
Yes.
itself.
Yes. That's the best way to phrase it. Yes.
That is so cool. Erin, thank you for being here. And I'll tell it to the world now. You can see Erin Newman on a Monday on the Daily Huddle coming up really soon. So Erin, it's always amazing to have you. Thank you for the contribution. So we're ending today's Daily Huddle with our 7+1 tenets. Go forth and love. If you're feeling down or not, have someone tickle you so you can laugh out loud. Stress less. Eat mostly plant-based. This vehicle called your body that carries you to be the one you are needs protection, needs nurturing. Feed it, take care of it, sleep, rest, give. And last but not least, move your body. Check your assumptions, always. That's our show. Looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a happy and holy weekend. Until then.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Andrea.
Erin, thank you.